Do you think he was truthful to you?
Well, I believed, Senator, that Mr. McCabe was not fully candid with me. He certainly wasn't forthcoming. In particular, Senator, with regard to Mr. Comey's memoranda of his interviews with the president and with regard to the FBI's suspicions about the president.
That was former Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Couldn't get out there quick enough, calling out the former FBI Director Andy McCabe over the Russia probe. McCabe quickly firing back, saying, quote, Rosenstein's claims to have been misled by me or anyone else from the FBI are completely false. Here to react, ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, House Judiciary Committees, Congressman Jim Jordan. Congressman, I would put that you know this case as well as anyone. What's the most intriguing thing to come out of this? And are you surprised McCabe and Rosenstein disagree?
No, I mean, look, somebody's not telling the truth, because former FBI counsel Jim Baker told us when we deposed him last Congress in the Judiciary Committee that Rod Rosenstein was serious about wearing a wire, was serious about invoking and using the 25th Amendment to try to remove President Trump from office. So somebody's not being square. And I guess maybe when you're engaged in this kind of wrongdoing, which happened at the upper levels of the FBI, maybe it's tough to keep your story straight. Maybe that's the key takeaway here. So somebody is not telling the truth. I think Senator Graham will get to the bottom of it when he starts bringing all these people in to the hearings that he's having.
Rosenstein responded to McCabe's comments, again, to this, says, I did not say that Mr. McCabe misled me. What I did say is he did not reveal the Comey memos to me for a week, and that is true. And he did not reveal to me that he was having internal deliberations with his team on whether to target high-profile people with his investigation source. Does that make you feel better?
Well, I mean, I really think the big takeaway yesterday is, remember who said, when Senator Graham asked him about was there any there, and he said, no, there wasn't. Remember who's saying this. This is Rod Rosenstein, the #2 guy at the Justice Department, the guy who at the time was acting Attorney General. Rod Rosenstein, the guy who signed the FISA application of renewal for Carter Page. Rod Rosenstein, the guy who named Bob Mueller as the special counsel. Rod Rosenstein, the guy who broadened the scope of the investigation. The guy who did all that now says there wasn't anything there. And that's been what we've been saying for 3 years. Now we're finally getting confirmation of that. So the top guy at the Justice Department is saying there wasn't anything there, but yet he signed the FISA, named Bob Mueller as special counsel, and broadened the scope of Mueller's investigation. For goodness sake, that's the main problem here. They did this when there was no evidence to support undertaking this investigation. In fact, when we deposed Jim Comey, after he was fired, he told us up until the day he was fired. So 10 months of investigation, July 31st, 2016 until May 9th, 2017, when he's fired. He said during that 10 months, he still didn't know if they had anything. In other words, they didn't have anything all that time, and yet Rod Rosenstein names Bob Mueller as a special counsel and puts our country through 3 years of what we went through. That's why people are upset about this, and that's why we got to get to the bottom of it all.
Every request that Mueller had would give to Rosenstein, he'd say, no problem. Take it. Boom, no problem. It was as if he wasn't interested in finding out if there's a reason for a FISA report, or if this witness should be called or not, or should this be halted. He said he knew by July of 2017 there was nothing there. Why wouldn't he just halt the investigation and stop the spigot?
No. Great question. I think the reason is he was afraid. Remember what the town was like in 2017. Everyone in the press was clamoring for a special counsel. We got to do this. All the Democrats were pushing for it. There was chaos. Sessions had recused himself because he was afraid. I think in the end, Rod Rosenstein was afraid. He was nervous, and he just caved to the pressure. Every Democrat wanted it. All the press wanted it. And frankly, half the Republicans wanted it. So Rod Rosenstein did the easy thing. Instead of doing the tough thing and saying, I'm going to dig into this and figure out what actually happened, he says, I'll just put it to Bob Mueller. And Bob Mueller then became the special counsel investigation, then became the insurance policy, because then they knew they had 2 years of this investigation, 2 years farther out, where they could cover up all the things that took place at the highest levels of the FBI with McCabe and Baker, Strzok and Page and Comey.
And then you forgot the next one. Let's do impeachment for the next 3 months. Oh, and then we have a pandemic and national unrest. It has not been an easy 2.5, 3 years. Jim Jordan, you've been there every step of the way. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Brian.